With us now, Ophira Yasheskel, former director of external affairs for the Democratic Governors Association, and Tim Miller, writer-at-large for The Bulwark and host of The Bulwark podcast. He is also former communications director for Jeb Bush's 2016 presidential campaign and an MSNBC political analyst. So, Ophira, how much is riding on this interview?
Well, I think they're going everywhere and connecting voters, and CNN interview tonight is just one of the many tools in their toolbox for doing that. I think it's a great way for them to connect with people, just like they did in Chicago at the convention, just like they have been in the rallies they've been doing across the country, and just like they are doing today in South Georgia with voters on the road. So I think it'll be a great way for them to connect with people and share their optimistic vision for the country.
And Ophira, do you think it's fair criticism of the vice president? She hasn't had any kind of major interview until today. We're talking, as you said, I mean, we're just over a month since she took top of the ticket.
I mean, like I said, it's one of the many tools in the toolbox. I think she's connecting with reporters as she's on the trail, taking questions. Her and Governor Walz are out there mixing it up with folks. And I think there are a number of ways to do it. The interview is a great one tonight, but I saw Governor Walz yesterday on Subway Takes. He's connecting with voters, I think, who are mainly tuned in online in that way, connecting with them about who he is and what the ticket will bring. So I think it's just one of the many ways that they're getting out there, going everywhere, connecting to the voters they need to win in November.
Tim, what are you going to be looking for tonight?
Well, I think the dynamic between the presidential nominee Kamala Harris and Tim Walz will be interesting, right? Because we've seen them back-to-back speeches, but sort of sitting down in an informal setting, I think will be interesting. I think I'll be looking for how Kamala Harris addresses the ways in which her agenda for this campaign is a little different from the 2019 campaign. She's moved to the middle on a few issues, which I'm happy about. But she's going to have to explain that and give a rationale for that. And I think it'll be interesting to kind of see how she does it and how she, contrasts with Donald Trump. I mean, the nice thing on this is Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have changed their minds on a million things too. And so, I think that as long as she can, give a powerful rationale, a forward-looking rationale, and contrast herself with the Republicans, I think that she'll be fine. And I think that they should do more of these, really.
And so GOP Vice Presidential nominee J.D. Vance got heated yesterday when talking about that controversy surrounding Trump's visit to Arlington National Cemetery to mark 3 years since 13 U.S. service members were killed in a bombing in Afghanistan. Here's some of what he had to say.
To have those 13 Americans lose their lives and not fire a single person is disgraceful. Kamala Harris is disgraceful. We're going to talk about a story out of those 13 brave, innocent Americans who lost their lives. It's that Kamala Harris is so asleep at the wheel that she won't even do an investigation into what happened, and she wants to yell at Donald Trump because he showed up. She can go to hell.
Vance later told NBC News he was frustrated when he made these comments. Tim, we've often talked about message, sticking to message, and how you deliver a message. What do you make of this line of attack?
Yeah, I don't know that he's frustrated. I think he was acting. J.D. Vance is very uncomfortable in his own skin. It was kind of very clear that was a performance to me. And look, I think that what Donald Trump did at Arlington was the disgraceful thing. And the Army put out a statement today, which they never do. It isn't up to Donald Trump and the people that he's with to decide if he can video. There are a lot of people that served our country honorably that lie in those gravestones, and they should be treated with respect. We don't want to turn Arlington into a place where politicians go for grip and grins with thumbs up signs and, smiling. So outside of that horrific decision by Trump and Vance, I think it's a fair decision. I don't know. I think that the vice president, maybe should take the opportunity at some point to contact those who died at Abbey Gate to talk about, how she, envisions moving forward on foreign policy. I don't think she needs to carry the baggage from what was a pretty messy withdrawal because she was not in the, she's not in the line of command. It was Joe Biden as a commander-in-chief. It's a new ticket. It's a new potential commander-in-chief. And I think it would be appropriate for her to try to turn the page. But the attack that the Republicans are making is disingenuous.
Ophira, just how heated do you think things are going to get in the next 68 days?
Well, it makes me sad that JD Vance took it there. I think it's a real contrast again to the joy and the optimism that we're seeing from Governor Walz and Vice President Harris. They're out on the trail talking about what they're going to do for the middle class, how they're going to protect freedoms like abortion rights. I think that's been a winning message for Democratic governors across the country, and I think that's the tack that people want to see both sides take in this election. And I think there's a clear contrast to Tim's point. JD Vance is a little out of his skin. And he is being a little weird, to put it in Governor Tim Walz's terms. And I think they have a weird agenda for the country that they're not comfortable talking about. But the contrast, I think, between them and Vice President Harris and Governor Walz is pretty clear, and a really clear choice for people in November.
Ophira Yahezkel and Tim Miller, thank you both so much for being with us this morning. Really appreciate it.